Hey everybody, so I'm just going to do a quick gear review or show you what I'll be taking with me on the LaVenta trip, just to kind of help you as you prepare for your trip and pack. Ideally, I would be doing this outside with nice lighting and everything else, and just space to put everything out, but it's snowing and yeah, so we're going to just get this done, show you what I've got, and go from there. So first off, we'll go over the pack rafting gear. I've kind of got it separated into sections, and I'll just go over each section at a time. First is the paddle. This is the Aquabound whiskey paddle. These are the paddles that I prefer for my trip. I've got a couple of them that I'll be lending out to a few people, but if you've got your own paddle, let me know. But the ideal thing is that it's going to be packing down nice and small to fit into your backpack, and it's lightweight. Next, I've got my Astral V8 PFD, sorry. This is required. This one's nice and lightweight. I like that it's got this mesh back on it and a high flotation thing here, which makes it really comfortable to sit inside of a pack raft all day long. Next, I've got my helmet. This is just a proper whitewater helmet. As I've told many of you, it's not going to be a required thing, but it's suggested. I'll be using a GoPro a lot, so I've got a little GoPro mount on top of that. And then this is a pack raft. Not very big. Weighs about 6 pounds or so. This is one model. I've got a couple different models, but just for a comparison, here's the tent. This is a 3-man Big Agnes tent, which I'll be using. I love this tent. And that's kind of the comparison between a 3-man tent and a pack raft on size and stuff. So that's the stuff that's pack raft specific. So right here, I've got all the camping gear separated. I'll go over that slowly here. This is a 3-man Copper Spur Big Agnes tent. This is the tent that I and Conrad will be using. We'll be sharing it. A lot of people have expressed interest in bringing their own tent. That is okay for a couple of people, but ideally, everybody will share. There will be 2 to a tent, so we have a max of 5. A total of 5 tents, maybe 6, because if one person is really insistent on having their own. So if you do have a tent, just put on the Facebook group, let people know that you've got a tent, you're open to sharing, or you don't have a tent and you are looking for somebody to share a tent with. But this is a tent that I have. It's kind of big, but I love the spaciousness of it. Next, I've got my sleeping bag. This is a 15-degree bag, way warmer than I'm gonna need, but I don't have another bag at the current moment, so this is what I pack with me. What I've got it packed in is a Sea to Summit dry bag compression sack. I really love this thing. It's going to, because it's a dry bag, it's going to guaranteed to keep my sleeping bag dry, and it compresses really nicely. I've been using this for a couple years. Great stuff sack. Next, I've got my mattress. This isn't rolled up very tight, but it's just a Thermarest Neo Air mattress. Really warm, more for winter camping, but once again, it's what I have, so that's what I'll use. Next, I've got a camping chair. If I have room in my bag, I'm going to definitely bring this thing along. It's going to be really nice to sit on while we're at camp and sitting around. I've got my Sea to Summit pillow. I really like this thing. It's called the Arrows pillow, premium large. Been using that for a while. Next, I've got a big medical kit for the group to use just in case there's some emergency. And then speaking of emergency, I've also got my Garmin InReach Explorer. This can send text, get messages out, call for help, whatever we need. Get weather forecasts. It's a really useful tool that I'll have with me on my trip. On our trip, sorry. Next, I've got a headlamp. And then I've got a little lantern that I like to have around camp. We can all use that when sitting around and just cooking later at night. Then I've got a big water filter. This will be big enough for the group. Filters 2 liters at a time. It's a gravity-fed platypus. I think that's what it is, a platypus gravity-fed filter. Great filter for larger groups, but I won't have this out during the day, maybe at lunch breaks during the day. And I hooked this up to my water bottle to fill up water. Obviously, we'll be using this to fill up everybody's water bottles and stuff during camp or whatever needed. Next I got, says a first aid kit, but I've got Packcraft repair supplies in it, and I've also got my toiletries and fire starter kit for our fires at night. Next I've got the stove. There's going to be 3 of these stoves on the trip. This one's my original one, so it's a little bit dirty, but they burn unleaded gasoline. I'll fill this up with unleaded gasoline at the gas station before we go on our trip. Should 1 bottle per 2-3 people should be enough, but I'll bring a second littler bottle. So a total of 3 of these and 3 little bottles. And we're going to have to share the weight on these, so packing these around. And then I've got a 2-liter Sea to Summit pot, and I'll have 3 of these for the group to boil water. If you want to cook something else or make noodles or whatever else, it won't be for that. So bring your own pot for that. And then I've got a long-handled spoon that I eat out of my my dehydrated meal bags with. And I really, really love long-handled spoons for that. So if you're looking for a utensil, this is it. And that's made by Sea to Summit also. And that pretty much covers all the gear you need for camp. So next up, clothes. I keep this part really simple because you're on the river, you're constantly jumping in, getting clean. So clothes, they're pretty good. I don't worry too much about it, but I do suggest bringing something warm. So this is a lightweight puffy jacket. It's a synthetic, so it doesn't matter if it gets wet. It'll still keep me warm. This is the Arc'teryx LT Light Atom, something like that. Anyways, that's my puffy jacket. I might bring that. I might bring a fleece instead. We'll see. This is my waterproof rain jacket made out of Gore-Tex. Just in case it ends up raining, it's nice to have something to get out of the rain. This is my, bring 2 shirts with me, a long sleeve shirt and then a short sleeve. They are both made out of merino wool, so they dry really fast and they're really lightweight, packable. I love these shirts. And this is made by Icebreaker. This is made by Smart Wool. This is a lightweight camping towel that I like to use. Got my sunnies. And then I've got my Chaco sandals that I'll go pretty much everywhere in these. Love these sandals. Good soles on them for wet river rocks. Do make sure that you get good grippy soles that don't slip on wet rocks. Vibram soles are suggested. And then I've got some swim trunks and some shorts. I don't bring pants on these trips because I generally do really well with not getting sunburnt. I'll bring some coral reef safe waterproof sunscreen that I'll use on the trip for my legs and my arms if needed. But in general, I do pretty well. And then I'll sometimes even use my towel to cover up my legs if they're I want them totally out of the sun. But that's basically what I'll bring for clothes right there. And then underwear, I bring 1 pair of merino wool underwear. So that's that. I've got my optional electronics. This is what I hope to bring, or maybe even more, who knows. But just kind of going over things. This is my camera. It's a Sony a7R III with a 24mm 1.4 lens attached that I'll be using for night photography and caves. This is my 24-70 f4 lens and a 16-35 f4 lens. Those are kind of my go-to lenses, and then this one will be kind of my play lens. If I left one at home, this would be it, but I'm really kind of stoked on taking some darker night photography shots and cave shots, so I'll definitely bring this guy most likely then too. This is my Mavic Air drone. I do hope to bring this guy and a couple batteries, and he's pretty small, lightweight, so it goes along pretty well. I'm hoping to do a lot of video on this trip, and with that being said, I've got a GoPro Max 360 camera. I've got 2 of those, and I've got this GoPro 8 that I'm filming on that I'll be trying my best to capture some really sweet video from the trip. Then I've got my notebook, my book of memory cards, a whole bunch of those. And then a power bank. This is the Sherpa 100 PD. It just holds about 25 milliamps, and I probably will need a little bit more, so I might bring this Venture 30, made by Goal Zero also. And this one has about 7,000 milliamps. It's got some waterproof, sandproof, dustproof, earthproof Jaybird headphones that I will be shooting for, taking some photos of those, and also just enjoying those at times. It's got a little mini speaker for us to use. This thing is waterproof also. That will be used around camp or whenever we want to just have a little bit of music for some fun. Small Joby tripod, Gorilla tripod that I can use to hook onto my pack raft or wherever I want a tripod for my camera. A bag of batteries, a little bag for my GoPro and batteries and whatever else. And then a little lens case for my lens, and my camera bag that I use. This is made by f-stop and then just kind of loads in there. So that's basically what I've got for my camera equipment. And then last thing to go over are dry bags. Like I've explained to a lot of people, everybody can do their own thing. Most people just get a bunch of smaller dry bags to put inside of the normal backpack, but this is what I have. This is my setup. So I've got a big backpack made by Watershed that's totally waterproof, and then I've got a smaller handbag that I use for my camera and whatever else to keep with me in the boat. And then this is an example of another dry bag that one of my buddies left with me that he used for my camera, and I'll kind of just show you what they are. So really basic bags. They are made by Watershed. Not a whole lot of logos on them and stuff. The backpack has some straps on the back of it here and a waist strap. They're all removable, so it becomes a pretty slick bag once all. The thing I like about Watershed is that it's got these snap top Ziploc tops on there. So you just kind of pinch it like that, and then it's all sealed up. And then you'll just do one little quick roll and it snaps onto there. Snaps onto there. And you've got your stuff totally waterproof and sealed up quick and tight. What I like about these is that they don't have the roll top on them, which if they will work water into them if you're unrolling and re-rolling them all the time. So the ones for your backpack, not such a big deal. I just like this because it's really convenient, not really big deal if you don't have a waterproof backpack, but I definitely recommend one of these Watershed little dry bags for your camera equipment that you're going to have with you in the boat. Because if you're like me and you get it to your camera all the time, all day long, and you're unrolling and re-rolling your dry bag all day, water does work its way into it. But with the snap open, you just kind of rip it open, grab your stuff, and then snap it closed. And water generally doesn't work its way in because there's not anywhere to work its way in. It's just right here, and you close it. So that's that. And then there's this option, which is, this is a roll top. It's nice and small for camera equipment. It's made by Sea Line, and it's actually a pretty good little dry bag. It's clearly old and well used. So you can throw your camera right in there, you roll it up, and then you snap. It's got little snaps on the sides there to kind of help hold it closed. So that pretty much concludes all the gear that I'll be taking with me. My dry bags, my camping, my clothes, camera equipment, and everything. Now I'll show you, I'll go ahead and pack all that stuff up into my bags. And then I'll show you how that works with the pack raft. Here we are with the final all packed up version of everything. So sorry for the poor lighting, but this is my backpack. I've got it strapped to the front of my boat with these little ropes and cleats. I don't know if you can see that, but it tightens up on. Here we are with the final all packed up version of everything. So sorry for the poor lighting, but this is my backpack. I've got it strapped to the front of my boat with these little ropes and cleats. I don't know if you can see that, but it tightens up on there. You can attach any backpack to the front of it. And what I love about the pack raft is it's so light that you can just put on your backpack just like this, and your boat will stay connected and you can walk it past anything that you need to. So it's really easy to move everything. But yeah, this is how the backpacks will sit. They'll just sit right on the front of the boat there, strap on. And then inside of the boats, I've got this dry bag. This is my Watershed Uzi or something like that. Anyways, it's a 10-liter bag, duffel little handbag that I keep my camera equipment and stuff inside of, or I can attach it to these loops or just anywhere. It's good to have a carabiner for those bags just to be able to attach them anywhere that you need to. And then I've got our paddle. So paddle put together. I've got my helmet here. And then I've got my life jacket that I'll be wearing. So that's basically the setup of the boat once all packed up and ready to go for the river. Last thing I forgot to talk about is just food. I didn't talk about food because I don't have all my food put together right now. And this backpack looks full because I kind of put some extra things in there, but it's not totally full. So all the extra space that I have in there, I'll fill with food. And even sometimes if I'm really wanting some extra mangoes or avocados, I'll just have like a little teeny bag that I'll hook onto my bigger backpack that I'll carry with me for a few days until I eat that food up. But yeah, just any extra room that I have, I'll bring food with me. And that's why I suggest bringing dehydrated meals, because it just makes more room for your snacks during the day, such as avocados, mangoes, tortillas, hot sauce, just a whole myriad of different things that you can bring with you on the river throughout for the trip. If you have dehydrated meals and kind of consolidate your meals in some areas, and then you can just be a little bit more elaborate with your food in other areas. All right, I think I covered everything for this trip. If you have any other questions, let me know.